please subscribe to hilarious posts and comments. Thank you. Those of you who've actually had sex with a friend's mom or dad, how did it go down? When I was 20, the friend in question's mom could get us into a bar her friend owns. Every week me and 3 friends would go and she would buy every drink and be over all of us. One night after her son crapped out early, I just said the hell with it, went along with it. When we got back to the house, she was hot for a mom but a dead fish in bed, so it felt really underwhelming to say the least. Anyway, she made me breakfast the next morning, blew me real fast and took me home all before he woke up. To this day the friend I'm pretty sure knows, but we don't talk about it. I was 23 and she was 44. Her son and I were friends and in college together. She was 5 feet 2 inches, thin, really cute and originally from the Dominican Republic. She had always kind of flirted with me, but I just thought that's all it was. I was wrong. A bunch of us got together and went out to have dinner on night, and she went with us. We all had fun and went back to her house. Her son and his girlfriend went to bed, and before I was able to get out the door, she asked me to sit beside her, by the fireplace. She leaned her head on my shoulder and looked up at me and asked, "Do you want to?" Couldn't say yes fast enough. She and I dated for 2.5 years. As a bonus, I learned a good deal of Spanish from her. I had sex with an ex-girlfriend's mom. She broke up with me and a couple of weeks later I ran into her mom in the grocery store. Her mom commented that she missed me being around and I said I missed her too. She was a pretty cool mom. She told me that her divorce got finalized, her sister was going to move in and some other small talk type stuff that we both shared as we walked around the store. I helped her put her groceries in her car and she hugged me. She told me I should come over sometime and see her new paintings. She was an artist. I went over a week or so later and she served me some wine and basically seduced me and introduced me to roleplay at the same time. We did mommy/son incest roleplay and fucked. My god, it was so hot. We saw each other for over a year and then she moved. I miss her sometimes. Friend of mine slept with my sister and kept making a big deal about it. I honestly could have cared less, and his mom was always making offhand sexual comments when I was around her, so I decided to go for it. She had him when she was 16, we were around 18 to 19, so she wasn't old and still looked pretty good. Came through one day knowing he wasn't there after flirting with her pretty hard for a few weeks, and she almost immediately jumped my bones. We slept together for a while after and neither of us ever said a word about it. It was fun while it lasted and I didn't stay friends with the guy for other reasons. But anytime he mentioned that he slept with my sister, I had the satisfaction of knowing his mom was extremely into ATM and fucked like a champion. A2M, greater than ATM, since people wanna be anal about it. Leaving the other one cause I couldn't care less. I was 18 and my girlfriend and I went to the zoo with her mom, and my girlfriend ended up throwing some kind of temper tantrum. Since her mother drove, it was an awkward car ride home. I wouldn't even talk to her, and I looked over and she was giving me a death stare and said, "Do you want to break up?" I sat there for a second and her mom said she was going to drop her, my girlfriend, and drive me the rest of the way home. I said yeah I do. She dropped her daughter off and drove me home. I joked that my plan to get to her via her daughter had worked. She laughed at that and said I'd be lost and have no idea what to do with her. I blushed so hard at that and she saw it. It took me a few minutes to gather my thoughts and figured, fuck it, I'm going to flirt. Her mom, since the day I met her, would always wear tighter shirts and hip-hugging jeans around me. She was a recently divorced woman who may have been lonely, who knows. So I made a flirty comment about her looking fitter every time I came over. Ooh, I can answer this. I actually met the dad first through Drunken shenanigans and a different friend, and I ended up moving in with him, using certain parts of my body to subsidize my rent. And then I met his daughter and she became one of my best friends. She didn't find out about the dad stuff for almost a year. She needed a small break from our friendship when it first came out, haha. We're still friends now though. My buddy's mom had recently gotten divorced, I went to his house looking for him so we could go play baseball. He had already left but she invited me in anyway. Shit escalated quick. Other one was a woman I worked with. She asked if I wanted to go out for drinks one night. I had a fake ID so I went for it. Went back to her place and did the deed. Woke up the next morning to her making breakfast. Went into the kitchen to see her and her 2 kids were sitting at the kitchen table. Recognized them instantly. I previously dated her daughter freshman year and I played football with her son. I had no idea how old she was when I went out with her and didn't know her kids were older. When I was 19, I ended up in a mental hospital for a suicide attempt and one of the ladies in one of my group therapy groups was the mom of this guy I had gone to high school with. She was separated from her husband at the time and she and I got along well. After I got out of the hospital she and I would hang out and talk or go to the movies. One day, I apparently seduced her, not exactly on purpose, and we sorta started sleeping together a lot. She divorced her husband, told her family she was a lesbian and said she felt like she always had been gay but didn't know it. She went full on LGBT empowerment. This was the early 90s in the Bible Belt and she was a just out 48-year-old. She started dating different women and last I saw her, she seemed very happy. I don't think her son ever knew it was me that turned his family upside down. I got a IRL story like this. Dude I'm distantly related to was expecting a baby with his wife. Pretty normal. He and wife start fighting. Wife tells him it's not his baby. It's done, duh. His dad's. Dude doesn't really believe it, confronts dad, dad cops to it. This causes issues with dude's parents and they separate. Dude's separated from his wife. So, the wife and dad move in together. Long story short, dude suddenly doesn't have a wife or family or child, goes on big alcohol/drug binge. We're pretty redneck down here. Lots of intoxicated driving. Dude gets in accident and is killed. Mom and dad reconcile while grieving. Now mom and dad and wife and new baby all live together. Welcome to Central Florida. Edit, corrected sorry to story, even though the whole situation is pretty sorry. My story is about my mom's friend. I was 21. She was 55. My mom had told her that I would bring something to her on my way to meet with friends. My mom and her friend lived in the same neighborhood. To literally walk over to the other's house would have taken 5 minutes. I was scheduled to meet my friend Mark out and we were headed to a friend's party. I stopped by thinking nothing was afoot. She answered the door in a black teddy. As a matter of full disclosure, I was always attracted to her. She had this way about her that made me excited. She opened the door and said, "Care to have a drink?" I know my eyes looked huge and I said, "Yes ma'am." She made an old-fashioned and we watched a porn she was already watching. I took out my flip phone and texted Mark, "Best go without me, I'm indisposed." That night we had sex all night. That's when I truly understood how to eat a woman out. She did more teaching than she did more deflowering. To this day she still makes my toes curl when I think of her. Damn you Ms. Jackie. She later broke my heart when she married some asshole for money. We had sex for about a year. I always had the hots for her. And when I was 16 we made out at New Year's. Nothing happened except some decent text messages and one other make-out session for another year, and I moved away. Fast forward 4 years and I'm 21 and living back in my hometown. She had 3 kids, all my age, and we hung out occasionally. We got drunk one night and I promised my friend I wasn't gonna bang his mom. Well, she started cuddling up close to me and it was game over. 10 out of 10. Would bang again. A friend's mom happens to be decent friends with my mom. After high school she would come around the house before or after her and my mom would go out. It's also pretty well known that she can get out of control when she drinks. Nothing crazy, but she would be more flirty, sexually aggressive and outspoken. Typical drunk stuff. One night they both came home pretty turned up. As my mom would leave the room to grab drinks, her friend would ask me questions like how many girls I've been with, do I like sex. I was past my naive year and saw where this was going. I always thought she was attractive and all the talk had me hard already, so I grabbed her hand and put it on my dick. She felt it for a few seconds and smiled. She then said something along the lines of if it was anyone else I would. Turns out it didn't matter because I waited until we had all gone to bed and snuck my way to where she was sleeping, aka the living room couch. Had some quick but amazing sex and life went on. I dated this girl, right after school, but it didn't work out. A couple of years later, we started talking again and became friends, which means I was still trying to fuck her but with no luck. One day, she ghosted on me when we were supposed to hang out. She called me later and asked me to come over again. When I got there, she was an emotional wreck. Turns out, she was hanging out with her best friend's dad and they wound up fucking like rabbits. Why she was hanging out with her friend's dad, I'll never know. Her friend found out and called her a slut and ended their friendship. I thought it was a pretty shitty thing to do. Plus I was pissed off about some old guy fucking this chick. I was trying to nail myself, so I just let our friendship die off. That was 20 plus years ago, don't miss her. Didn't happen to me. I had a friend in school, female, who was 14, she was dating a 17-year-old college boy. The boy used to babysit for the mom of the 14-year-old and the mom seemed to be happy for their relationship. Until it came out that the boy had been fucking the girl's mom secretly. The girl and boy broke up for a year, which the boy kept on sleeping with the girl's mom. When that got rocky, the girl and boy started going out again. And this happened in a civilized town in England. To civilized people, mom and daughter don't get on now as far as I'm aware. But girl and boy are still dating. And this was near 8 years ago. Don't know what the fuck they were thinking to get back together again. Not just that, the whole town fucking knew about it. My roommate's very attractive mom would sometimes drive us to work, since she worked in the same neighborhood as we did. I think she had my number in case she couldn't reach him. Anyway, one day she started texting me at 2 a.m. I called her out on it, plainly saying, look, there's probably only one reason you're making small talk in the middle of the night. We started seeing each other casually, and the sex was amazing as you may expect from an older woman. It didn't take long for him to find out, and I started feeling bad about the situation, specifically me banging my buddy's mom. So I broke it off. It definitely hurt our friendship. It wasn't easy though, she didn't take no for an answer too willingly. Well, here it goes. Back in the day I was friends with this one dude who had a band and one of his bandmates had a girlfriend. She noticed my Legend of Zelda tattoo. And said nice Triforce. Instant friend. One day I took her and her friend out for Taco Bell and her friend said my mom likes Taco Bell. And I jokingly asked, is she single? And she said yeah. And she likes younger guys too. So we go back to her place afterwards and me and her mom hit it off. We get dancing one night and then another night we watch Dancing with the Stars. We watch for a bit and we start feeling each other on the couch. We have the house to ourselves so she leads me upstairs. We wound up dating for a few months and the daughter actually added me as her dad on Facebook. Lol. Still friends with both of them. Do mothers of students count? I was temping teaching computer class while in college, at a private school, teaching high school kids. This one mom was really friendly. She offered me some more money for private tutoring. The second visit, she let me in and her son wasn't there. I got confused about what I was doing there. She explained it rather promptly. Turned out it violated school policy, private tutoring, not the other, so I lost the temp job teaching computers, but I made a new friend tongue. She was not interested in anything long term, she was just lonely after her husband divorced her. The situation lasted 18 months or so. She remarried a year or two later. I'm the tech guy for her new husband's company part-time, not sure what he knows. Her son is the full-time computer support for his office of 35, but he's primarily desktop support. I handle the security and servers. It was at her daughter's wedding. I sat next to her in church. I was pretty pissed that I didn't have a bigger role in the wedding. I was her boss at the time after all. I asked her mom if she had a snack and she gave me a candy bar. I think it was apricot. It was disgusting. I had a hard time swallowing it. That's what she said. One thing led to another. I ended up spending the night with her. Dated her for a while. Until I found out that she was going to be a grandmother. Dumped her on her birthday. Not a friend's mom but my mom's friend. Back years ago I used to provide a certain herb to people who paid ad. I live in an illegal state. My mother's friend/co-worker would purchase said herb from me. On occasion I would drop it off to her at her house. One night it was fairly late and I went to go drop some off to her and she invited me in for a drink and things escalated from there and I smashed. It became a regular thing after that until one night I was invited over to the one I banged, friend house. I bullshit you not, I banged her at the friend's house and banged her friend after the first had passed out from too much alcohol consumption. I was 20. It was a fantastic night/accomplishment banging 2 chicks in the same night. Please subscribe to hilarious posts and comments. Thank you.